Without further ado, I would like to call upon a highly experienced maritime professional with over 3 decades of senior leadership across shipboard operations, maritime safety, crew training, and digital transformation in the maritime ecosystem. He currently serves as the Senior Vice President at Mintra, a global leader in maritime digital learning and competency solutions, where he champions strategic initiatives that empower seafarers and maritime organizations through innovative learning technologies and human-centric workforce solutions. Recognized for blending practical seafaring expertise with strategic thought leadership, he has led industry-wide advancements in competency frameworks, behavioral safety leadership programs, and training strategies that shape culture, performance, and well-being at sea. His work emphasizes not only technical proficiency, but also the human and cultural dimensions of maritime learning and professional growth. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Captain Dr. Sartaj Gill as we welcome him on stage.
Good job. Thank you very much.
Okay, yes, we're sending it across.
We've had some interesting sessions earlier this afternoon, and thank you for that. And I think the last session for me was very, very interesting. I always love to see cadets on the stage. The confidence you guys showed to come up here and talk confidently, again, deserves a round of applause. Thank you. Okay, with that, I would like to get on to my slide, if we can. We've heard very important points earlier today. We've heard about HTW, what's going on, we've heard DG, and we've heard a lot of other interesting stuff. I'll try and pick up some of the things as we go along. But I would like to put in a slight curveball. You may or may not agree to what you're going to see just now on this thing. For me, and this I'm talking purely my opinion, the greatest risk to safety at sea is not technology. I know this conference is got to do with a little bit of technology, but the greatest risk, believe me, is not technology. It is the gap between how we teach in the maritime universities and what we teach in the maritime universities versus what ship operators and managers are expecting the seafarers to do while they are on board. I'll pause for a bit. The greatest risk to safety at sea is not technology, it's the gap. Why do I make that statement? How many of us in the room here, and this is not an endeavor to find your age, but how many of you went out to sea at least 2 decades ago? Maybe 3 decades? Okay. Why I make this comment is because when I go to maritime universities, not just in India, but from Russia to Ukraine to Poland, Europe, Philippines, China, I'm seeing the same problem everywhere. And the issue is, even today, by and large, with a few exceptions, most maritime universities are teaching in exactly the same way I got trained decades ago. I'll let you think about that. We are still using whiteboards, we are still using presentations, and to a large degree, the same faculty member who taught me is still teaching in that maritime university. I'm not shaming anybody, but I'm trying to do a reality check. So if you want to move, we've got to make certain changes. Industry is evolving very fast. Curriculums, I do not believe so. And then we heard in the HTW that there are another 200 gaps identified. I'm hoping that not more and more stuff will come into the industry. So let's talk about compliance. Traditionally, as an industry, there's a new regulation. Everybody runs and makes a training course. All seafarers are sent for the course completed, certificate in hand. You're competent. Assumed competence. Do we seriously think that by attending one single course, either in a classroom or attending an e-learning course, makes somebody competent? If we do, I think we are fooling ourselves. Ship operators, ship managers. Any HACQ guys here? Quality, safety, audits, wettings? Abhi koi haath nahi uthayega. I know there are some guys who have that experience from the past. One of them is sitting right in front. Robert was another one of my friends, has that, yeah? So again, I don't need to tell you, but generally again, my experience, you have an incident, you have an accident, you have PSC, findings, SIRE, right ship, you name it. The first thing that happens in an incident report, the finding, what is the easiest way to close it? More training. First course of action, or training karao. So what does that do for you? Already we are saying there is immense amount of training. We keep doing training, and then people like Arun are sitting in the crewing department and saying, "Arey yaar, bas kar ab rulayega kya?" Everybody says it takes us a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after hiring a new seafarer or a captain before you can place them on board. And again, as much as we can sit here, a lot of the companies, because of the nature of our business, that training happens in the last 1 week of joining ship. A seafarer comes into the office, course abhi, evening, e-learning. Morning course, evening, e-learning. 20 e-learning courses before they join ship in 1 week. Where is the retention? So that's the world we are living in, but this is a reality check. Now, what is real competence? Or let's use the word proficiency, because there is a big difference, in my opinion, between competent and proficient. A certificate of competency, if we would have thought that that would have made a seafarer proficient, there would be zero value-added training. Companies like us need not exist. But we do, and we are thriving, I have to say. So it's good for us. But proficiency means you being able to do that job in any situation, any environment, correctly every single time. Not one time, every single time. And that is the 4 pillars. Now, one of the gaps that we see, everybody acquires knowledge. They go to a classroom, knowledge is important. Cadets here, you're acquiring that knowledge. How to translate that knowledge into competence, execution of the job becomes very, very important. And then that needs to be immersed with behavioral competencies. Just being good technically is not going to take you too far. Most leaders in the world would tell you emotional skills, empathy, behavioral skills are the ones which will help you succeed in careers. Technical skills will just get you the job in the first place. That also maybe not many times. And judgment under pressure, critical, very, very critical. So why traditional training fails? We've already spoken about it. Very often there is no context to it. People are just coming into the training courses because it's a compliance requirement. Right? So context is key. Why are you learning? Information overload, I've already made the point. Low retention, meaning even in a classroom training, reports and research show that 10% of retention exists. As soon as you walk out of the room, you will only remember 10%. My cadetship time, when I learned so many things in the college, did I utilize everything? Did I remember everything when I went on board? Absolutely not. Most of the learning happened on board the ship. And that was because of mentoring, not purely because of knowledge. Completion does not equal capability. So I won't talk too much about the old model, but the future model, what do we need to do? Competence and behavior change is very important. Here I'm using the word competence because proficiency is everything combined together. You need to be competent in what you do. You need to have behavior capabilities. Continuous learning and spaced repetition is key. One time doing a job and forgetting about it is not gonna make you proficient. It is important to do reinforced learning. In the world of digital era, YouTube, everything, even if you want to learn one skill, you cannot learn it by watching a video of 2 minutes in micro-learning and then thinking I've achieved everything. You either need to keep watching it again and again, or you need to watch it differently every time. And performance evidence is the execution on board needs to be seen. You need physical, practical training. So it was interesting to hear what METI is doing. Not now. I'm aware of METI's existence for a very long time, but that practical experience in the shipyard is the game changer for you and for your success. Now, Myntra is a company which I represent. How are we trying to change this? Now, we work with maritime training centers, training institutes, academies as well as ship owners. So we have seen evolution happening over the years. What we've over the years also built is technology that can be embedded inside training institutes. So we are trying to build one single ecosystem. We have technology that you can put on board vessels, and on board of vessels, you can do contextual learning. These scenarios which are available for e-learning are all operational scenarios. There's a mixed bag of mixed realities, AR, VR, gaming, all those works because different people learn differently. Every individual does not learn in exactly the same manner. So it's very important to have that mix and blend. Then we give self-directed learning. In today's age, why should one person, because of compliance, run through exactly the same course if my level of competence is different from somebody else? I don't want to spend 30 minutes sitting in front of the computer if I know everything already. So there is self-directed learning. You can learn based on your own needs. You can do an assessment, and based on that, your journey gets a little bit tweaked. So lots of stuff coming out. We have like a ChatGPT style mentor box. You can ask questions. It's a trained model on every single training that we have. So if you are in doubt, you ask a question and you get trained. So flexible bag of things. This is why we are trying to do our part, whatever we can when you are on board, and also in the maritime universities by utilizing cloud-based simulation environments and different stuff. That also gives you some added competencies to add, because learning is not one-time finished learning and certificate achieved, it's continuous. And the responsibility rests, I think, all across. The learner has the biggest responsibility. If you don't want to learn, nobody can teach you. Nobody can teach you. But as an industry, we need to evolve, whether it is maritime administrations, whether it is universities, ship operators, owners, training providers, digital service providers. Sanjeev made an interesting point earlier, collaboration. We all need to work together in the ecosystem to be successful. That is the key. To end it up, competence loop. It's learning, relearning, you learn, You get feedback, you apply, you make the changes, and you just keep circling back into a loop of infinity. It's never stopping. You cannot stop learning, you cannot stop growing, you cannot stop developing. Thank you very much. I'll end my presentation there.